Hey folks, and welcome to the Pipnotic Symposium on the 25th of October 2022. So we're going to run through our pairs and see what's going on and see what's happened. This is the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar. Just still waiting for prices to reach this area here. Just looking at this, I mean, it's not a super interesting area, but what I like about this is on the daily chart you can just see pretty clearly like the cutaway. And so if you look at this really closely, let's just do this, you can see that this is this candle, the body of this is in the range of this, the body of this is in the range of this, so these are kind of all linked together, and the candle that managed to close outside of that is this one here, and the slingshot is here, right there. You can see slingshot, micro slingshot, and then the departure. So going to a smaller time frame, zooming out a little bit, we should maybe be focusing on this. I had this open yesterday and we were kind of messing around with this, but looking at this just to make sure that we're doing things exactly the way we want to do, I'm just going to move this up here because this to me makes much more sense than what we had earlier. So I'm going to leave it at that. We'll probably have a reaction there. We might not even get up to our entry because of this, but I want to do things the right way for me, because if I would have moved it here and I would have got a loss, I'd be like, damn it, I know I should have taken the parent. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We also have this one here, which is already done right there. Did price get there? It did not quite get there, it got closer, but we'll leave it on there and we'll watch it. Another thing I like, we have like a pretty buyers and sellers happy. Okay, so what do you want to be doing? You want to be like selling above or buying below, and I'm just going to be looking to buy below. Why? Because of this, and because of this. On the daily chart, we're super low. We're poking on like a buy zone just here. This is the red dotted line, and so I want to try and grab like a shorter term trade just down there. Okay, so we'll leave that on there, and we will move to the Australian dollar Swiss franc. This one here, we're still waiting. We're waiting for price to come up here to our area of supply. Slingshot is established, so nothing to do but wait. Aussie Japanese yen, we had a lovely reaction here. This is the one that I had an entry to buy here. We missed it, and so I took it off. Price spiked down, and this is where we saw that move higher. That happens a lot, actually. But again, got to stick to the rules, and our area's been tested. Unless we see a huge departure, like we actually saw on the second one, it's advisable not to take it. Okay, so we're just waiting for price to wriggle back up to here. We're probably going to get like a small reaction up here. Let's just put it like that for the time being. But we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Okay, Australian dollar, or Kiwi dollar. So we have a really nice departure. On this one here, we had these highs kind of nestling in around here. Test. We almost went through it, we failed. Price came back to here. So this is essentially where the slingshot started, and price went higher. So looking at that, I mean, what area caused that to break? When I say that, I mean, there's something in here, like this, okay? Price kind of moved away from here. And the area that did that, I mean, it's actually this one here, because this is where price managed to go through. But you can see that we haven't quite managed to kind of close below that with conviction. If we go like that, you can see we still kind of figuring out what we want to do. So we want to wait and see where this slingshot is formed that causes that to finally be consumed. We go to the 4-hour chart and we look here. I mean, this is not very interesting, is it? Because there's a lot of trading. And so here, this is what we saw on the other chart, where we had a lot of price sideways movement. Super happy trading there. There's no imbalance. The imbalance is above here. Okay, so we want to be trading above that, and so I'm not going to trade here. It might come back to that area and have a lovely reaction, but again, that would, if it would have resulted in a loss, and I'd be kicking myself because I broke my rule. So I want to be focusing above that, which I have just here. Okay, so we'll leave that and wait to see what happens. Also, we have this going on here. Okay, so price could easily kind of dash north for a little while. Matter of fact, let's go to the half-an-hour chart and see if we can find some nice departures. This one here. Okay, if we just look at that. Okay, so here we had a test, failure, test, failure, test, failure, rally, accumulation, departure. And so if we zoom in just a little bit here, you can see that we originated from this. This is the pattern that we had. This is where it came from. Okay, the buy zone is established right here. And then we go over, went right to that area, and move this. Tested once, and now what area removed it? This one did right here. Okay, so this one we can actually move to the area that we just saw, just here. Okay, something like that. This is the one that did it. Okay, so this is where you want to trade. I'll put a look around there. Okay, so we'll leave that on there and wait for it to visit that area. And I hope it's okay that, I mean, I don't often change these trades, but sometimes I look at them, I do a video and I look at it and I go back to a chart, and then I make some small discoveries, and this is just one of those discoveries that I wanted to share with you. So this actually encouraged us to move our entry just a little bit higher to a better price. If we go like this, we whack it on there. Okay, oops. Here we're getting close to the 70. Okay, and so that's also a pretty interesting place. And if you kind of move this up a little bit, I mean right here it's just at the 50 for this whole move, and so that's kind of a big deal. Okay, we had a very inefficient price so we had a very strong move lower, and this is 50% of the give back, and so this would be an attractive price for those reasons. Okay, so boom, we'll leave that in there. Australian dollar, Singapore dollar. Okay, this one here, this is below price here. We have this. So as we saw, we have a lot of prices happy being there. So we want to be above that or below that. Okay, and we have this above it. Okay, we had a test, failure. We sat on the area, distributed, came down, slingshot, departure. The sell zone is actually right here. If we go down again to the 30-minute chart and have a closer look at that. So you want to mark off these areas where price was able to remove like some significant price points. So if we go to here, let me go back. I don't have enough data. Oh, story of the MT4 trader's life. Okay, let's go to a bigger time frame. Okay, here. Okay, so that's not gonna see it there. Let's just go on the daily, mess around. This is the big one. Okay, so we have to focus on this. Where is this? Okay, so you have to find. We have this. That update. Boom, right there. We tested, failed, and we rallied from where? Actually, let me just move this one from here. This is where we rallied from. So we go all the way over here. We sat on that area. Right here. Okay, price went through it, and we actually managed to cut through it just here. There's not a lot of clarity on this chart, so we'll go down. And we'll have a look here. Here you can see that the price removed that area just here. Okay, so price came here. Let me move this out of the way. Okay, price sat on it. We moved sideways. We went down. We didn't really do anything. We came back up to this area here, and then we left. And now we're returning to that area. And so, I mean, looking at this looks like the cutaway area. But just for the sake of completeness, let's go here and have a look. I mean, looking at this again here. I mean, what does this look like? What does that look like? It's a lot of that, isn't it? You're going to be above that. And so looking at this, I mean, where can we see something that's super clear, like super clear cutaways? Let's take this, and if we move up here, can we have something here? Let me zoom out so I can see the lines. We have this here. This is kind of like a turning point right here where the stop is. Turning point here, 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 and here. Price went down, kind of moved away. So that's a very clear kind of price axis. Okay, so we could move this up here. Does that mean that we're done? And then looking at this, I mean, price had to go up to here before it left. So this is actually where we have the sell zone right here. So price came down, we went up, we moved down, and then we sat sideways. I mean, this is just the distribution. This is like the gnawing away of the buying of the bullish liquidity that is just down here. Okay, it's a slow process. It's actually a really slow process. And then price sat on that area for a while, and then it finally cut away. Okay, and so looking at this, I mean, you can continue to move this thing up. The one that looks interesting is, where are we? This one here, because of the cutaway, but it didn't really do anything. And so, I mean, looking at this, I mean, I'm not all that pleased about this at all, as a matter of fact. I don't feel super comfortable doing anything. So when I'm not comfortable about something, then I'll say, okay, reset my perspective, and I'll go to the weekly chart. I go to the weekly chart and say, okay, what's going on? And I ask the big brother, I need show me where the money is. And looking at this, I'm going to remove that. Went through this area here. We had some lows. Let me mark those off. We had some lows around here. Test, 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 test. Now it's gone. So where is the origin of the bar that cut away? Remove that. I mean, it's kind of in here, isn't it? This candle here was the one that kind of initiated that whole push away. And so what I want to do is I want to attach from here to the high of that candle. Then I go down to the daily and then the 4 hour, and then I'll assess. What I like about this is I like this rally, distribution, release. And so this would be the area that I would find most attractive. Okay, so we're leaving all of this stuff here. Okay, and this looks like freshly introduced supply, where price is pretty happy. We have no real imbalances, and then price goes up, and then we really sell. We really start to move away, and then we put our sell zone. Oops, wrong thingy. Right there. Let me remove that. Oops, come on. Boom. Okay, so we have it right there. And so this is where I would be keen to sell. So I'm going to actually change my order from the one I had to this one. So this is 1, 2, 3. Stop loss is at 0.9676. The target we don't know yet. This is a daily supply selling at 0.9559. Boom. Okay, so we will leave that. That's what we have there. Matter of fact, I got to change the color of this. Let that update. There we are. So now I change the color, and then we know that this is where we want to be. And look at this area. Look at this line. Test, test, test. It's a very price-sensitive level. You can see all in here, boom. Okay, so this is what we'll do. We're also down here on the daily, so price could really, we could begin the beginning of the bull cycle here. So we want to be pretty high in price, and we take this fibs thing, we go from here to here. We go like that. I mean, we're about the 80% there, as you can see. Okay, so that's a pretty nice premium price at which to sell. Okay, enough about the Aussie Singy. Let's go to the CAD Swiss franc. Okay, so this is kind of difficult to see anything, any clarity, so you want to go to the weekly. You go to the weekly. The weekly chart is always your friend. It always shows you. I mean, look at that. You go to the weekly chart and it just makes sense. You can see, yeah, okay, weekly demand that was tested 1, 2, 3 times. What does that mean? That means that we're probably going to wriggle higher until we really reach some bumps in the road. We have some bumps in the road just here. Noticed again. Remember the guy who I started computer hacking with, a Finnish guy. he said to me a very, very long time ago, I mean, just when I was beginning, he said to me, God is in the detail. Or maybe I said that to him. Anyway, it was something like that. One of us said, like, God is in the detail to the other one. And at the time we were analyzing software, messaging software, for a really big computer software company, and it was being used. It was kind of like Skype, and it was being used for big groups of people to communicate. It's the exact same thing as Skype, actually, or Microsoft Messenger. And we were analyzing, and we were looking at this. It's actually a pretty big piece of code, and we had it running in a disassembler, and so we're looking at assembler code, so the 32-bit Microsoft assembler code, and the answer, like the vulnerabilities, were there the whole time. It's just a matter of really, really focusing, so you can look at the same piece of code over and over again, and all of a sudden, when you've kind of reached that peak mental performance, then you see it, even though you've looked at it many times in the past. It just leaps out of you all of a sudden. You have like this moment, like this epiphany almost, this moment of clarity, and that's when you spot, that's when we would spot these vulnerabilities. And trading's the same way. When you look at a chart, this could be assembler code that we're analyzing, trying to find vulnerabilities. And luckily with trading, it's a little bit more simple because there's only bars up and bars down. So what we can focus on here is wicks. And these wicks are very interesting because when they come down here, and we're just going to mark off where these wicks are. Okay, I mean, they're clustered, aren't they? Where are they clustered at? Well, they're clustered here. That means there's price sensitivity in here. Okay, this is super important to pay attention to. Okay, I mean, look, here we had price sensitivity here, around here. Where does price come to? Boom, it comes right to it. You see that all the time. When you have a lot of price sensitivity, then you're going to see a very high likelihood of price reacting at that area. Okay, and so if we just mark that off, let me remove this so we start from the beginning. Let's just take this and let's go from here to here. Remember, this is the weekly chart, so this is a really big time frame. Let it update, and then we go and we look on the small time frames. And let's take an average of these lows. If we tried to do like a best fit, maybe we'd be looking at, I don't know, like this, because we have some of them are quite high and some of them are a little bit low, so maybe something like that. So let's go to the daily chart and have a look. In here, we do the same thing. Okay, where do we have like these lows clustering? They're kind of clustering around here, 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 here. And we have a lot of lows, here, low, low. See, they're kind of all in here once again, huh? And so we say, okay, so smaller time frame that we can't see anything in here, so we have to continue to move lower. Okay, so then we continue to do that, and then you focus a little bit more on the bleeding edge, and you say, where are we seeing these price? Here, 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 here. See, you go to the small time frames, and this area kind of leaps up at you, and look where these squares are. I mean, they're pretty much on that line that we drew there, aren't they? So you ask yourself the question, well, where can we see a candle with its origin above that line, close below that line? And if we zoom in, you can see we have it right here. This is that little price structure just here. Okay, so we have a test here, a failure. The candle that went through is here. Where is the origin of that small period of distribution? If I draw it, if I really kind of pencil it out, test, 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 break. Okay, so where is the sell zone? Right there, right here. Price had to come here in order for it to go through this line. So this is where you start to sell. And so you zoom out a little bit, you find the area that looks nice. The software found it beautifully for us, and then you just box that off. It's a big area, so we'll just go like that. We'll just box it off like that, maybe, or something like that. And so that's where it is. That's the area. We have the lows, price sensitivity. Price kisses the backside of these support, becomes resistance lines. and that's it, and you're done. Okay, and so you really pay attention to these turning points. These are all arrows. They're pointing. They're saying, hey trader, pay attention, look here, look here, look here. Okay, they're everywhere. All of these, they're all telling a narrative. Even though you can't see the details of this, this is a micro pattern that resembles this pattern, just on a smaller time frame. They're happening all the time. Okay, so you have to pay attention to these. And this is what we have here. Price cut through there. This is the sell zone. We'll mark that off. So this is where price is likely going to move to and move away from. Is it guaranteed? No, absolutely not. But there's a high likelihood. There's more than 50% chance that it's going to do something at that level. And that's all you need. So we'll put here from here just to confirm. Okay, and this lines up absolutely perfectly with a really high price. So if we move this back a little bit, like so, okay, you can see that you want to be obviously above this. This is where prices have been historically. So you want to be above here. So price has already been back to 50. That means it's going to go past that. Okay, we're gonna start to move up here. We have wicks here. We have wicks here. We have the sell zone right there, right at the 80. Okay, so this is where you would put the order in to sell. So we'll do that super quickly. I'm just going to put all these in 2.5 lots. So this is stop losses at 0.7472. Take profit, we'll look at that later. For supply, we're selling at 0.7432. We put it in there. Okay, cool. So now we have that. So now you go to the daily chart, and all of a sudden, without being able necessarily to see the details on that, look, just okay, let me remove that. Just look at this. Our entry is there. Look at the respect for that area there. All the respect just here, all along here, here, all along here. These highs, here, here. Look how far back you can go back for this level. Look at that, right there, right there. Sat on it, went through it, sat on it. So this has actually been like a flip zone for a pretty extensive period of time. So this is where we would expect price to react in the future. All right, moving on to the CAD Japanese yen. Okay, I thought like, whoa. So here we had kind of a similar thing here. Oops, wrong tool. Wrong tool. Our price kind of sat on an area here. Price went through from where? From the high here. So here's the area. And here's the sell zone. Price didn't make it to the sell zone. Didn't even make it to the supply. It just went to the child, which is this one here. So it only made it back to here. But that happens as well. Okay, so price comes to that area, and then it moves away, and this is where we managed to move away from. But moving in the future, because price was already tested, well, it tested it here. You come back here, and then you can notice again that when price starts, oops, let me change time frame so we get an update. So price forms this, we pop down, we come up, the slingshot is established right here. So this is where we expect price to test in the future. From this is like the beginning of the sell zone. Where does it do it? Where does it do it? Right here. This is where we do it. We test it, but we start to form higher highs. We have gold dots below price. And this is essentially where we manage to accumulate bullish liquidity to consume this area of supply. Now it's gone. The area that did it, it's this one down here. Okay, so this one is the one that we will focus on. If you go, there's a lot of trading in that area. If we go to the smaller time frame, it's like the daily or the 4 hour, and we look, there is the edge of this area. We have a daily demand just here, and price shot up north. We had a rally, continuation pattern, rally, So price has really done well, has been pretty happy rallying from this low just here. You go to the smaller time frames again, we'll see if we can find some areas where price moved away from. Yeah, you can see that we had here, and we had the highs that were not violated for a long time, and then we finally had this push here, and then the slingshot, and then the departure. So there's something in here that's interesting to us. Okay, and so this is essentially where we would look to begin to buy. Okay, let's go to the daily chart. Yeah, so if you look here on this as well, just look at the candle patterns, you can see that we did, as a matter of fact, have like a bit of a break where we had like kind of accumulation candles just here. Let's go like that. We had two of them, so price rallied, accumulated. The body of this is more or less in the range of the previous, and this is where we cut away. So this is that little nodule, price nodule, that accumulated bullish liquidity. Okay, we pulled buyers off the sidelines into the market, and then it cut north. Okay, and so this is where the cutaway occurs from. So this is where we have an order to buy. But you want the stop below this, because this is a pretty tiny area, but we have a big area of value here. So should prices return to this area of value, then we can expect people to get excited once more and begin to entertain the notion of another long. On the weekly chart, again, you can say, these are all in the same family. Slingshot is there at the bottom of this candle here. So going back to the daily, the daily. So this brings our attention to kind of this slingshot, and on a tiny time frame, maybe. Let's have a look. See if we have the data. Okay, the half an hour chart didn't have data, but I had it on the 1 hour chart. And so this is kind of where the cutaway occurred from. Price rallied, we pulled it back, and we snapped higher from here. Okay, so this is kind of where it came from here, and this is that wick that we saw. So you could move it down to here, or you could leave it. Who knows? But it's not like, when I look at it, I don't get all excited about that. It's not like a trading pinup, if you will. It's just kind of a relatively mediocre trade, okay, based on this here. So we'll leave it in there. We'll move to the next one. Swiss franc, Japanese yen. Here we got this. I really like this. I just like the way that price kind of cut away very forcefully. We came right back to it, established the buy zone. We had huge reaction. And so I'm thinking if price comes a little bit deeper and fills this, then I think we'll probably see some reactions. We also have this one here, below price. The buy zone is established. This is a demand. So should this not work, then we'd look to buy down here. At this area here, the 135.42. So there's nothing to do just yet. We're still waiting for good things to happen. Okay, Euro, Australian dollar. I've already done 28 minutes, so I'll have to be a little bit careful here. So looking on this one here, we have this area here. This is where prices cut away. You can see the blue candles moving in the opposing direction. That's telling us that we were advertising higher prices to attract sellers. And that it occurred there. We have kind of parent and a child. They're linked together because they're so close to each other. And so I'm going to box off the whole area and try to sell just here at the release point, because we had this area here. Price came down, we went up, we came down right to it, we moved sideways, and then we cut away, removing this area of demand. So we'll leave it on there and we'll see what happens. We also have some inefficient price movement up into this area. So yeah, we could see a small reaction from that area. If we go like this, this is also at the 80 level, so this is a very premium price, and so people who did not get involved from here managed to now actually have the opportunity to get involved at a pretty good price as well. And notice once this low was formed, where did price go to the 50? Okay, we gave back 50% of this move. We went back a little bit deeper, so we can expect price on the following visits to come at least to this area. We came to it, we had a small test just here, and then we went through it, went back to it. So now we came up to this one next time, and now we're probably going to come to this one on the next time. Okay. So that's what we have there. Let's wait and see. The Euro CAD. So we had this in, price didn't get there. We have some kind of sell zone. Let's go to the weekly, see where we are. Like that. And this is a beautiful entry here. Yeah, look at all this. Lots of trading here, thinning out liquidity. The only area that looks remotely interesting on this time frame is this one here. So we go from wrong thing, from here to here. This is the cutaway candle, slingshot departure. So this could be a really interesting place for price to move away from. And if we take our fibs to see how deep we are, okay, we're just about the 50%. So price could easily come back to this and have a bit of a reaction. If we take the smaller swings, which is the one that left, this is essentially the one, kind of the major swing prior to the cut through. It's about here. Okay, and so that brings us up to just over the 60, which is interesting. Okay, so going to the smaller time frame, we'll have a look inside that little box, and you can see it really nicely. It's right there. Okay, we have that parent, child. So you want to box off that whole area like this. Okay, parent, child, slingshot, departure. And we form this, what appears to be a daily supply, says the software. And so price could come up to here, and this is where we'll potentially see a bit of reaction. But you want to be above all of this, because this is just like price removing liquidity, reducing the amount of liquidity. Okay, so the thick end of the book, or is the top of the book. Okay, so from here to here, and we have big sellers, smaller sellers, big buyers, smaller buyers. Okay, so this is just an interesting area. So we're just going to pop that in there. This is a tiny position. 1, 4, 6, 16. And what target we'll do afterwards. This is the daily supply. And they're selling at 1, 4, 3, 7, 6. We'll do 7, 5. Okay. So that's what we've got there. So move on to the Euro Swiss franc, and this is going to be our last one because we're already at 30 minutes today. So go on to the weekly chart just to see where we are. Yeah, we're moving away from something inside here. We had this lovely area of supply, gap down. Look, here's the sell zone. This is kind of the candle that kind of actually this one managed to move through, and then you have it's pointing. Look here, look here, look here, look here. Okay, look here. So I mean, the average of of these candles here is maybe, I don't know, maybe around here. Price comes up to that area. We go a little bit deeper. We turn around. We go a little bit deeper, a little bit above that high, and this is where we turn around from. Okay, and then we fall away. And here we have a single test here. Just going to put this on here like this. We'll go to the daily chart. You can see here that here we've got it here, just here. So price came down, tested, came down, tested, cut away, slingshot, departure. So when price came up to here, this is where it was able to move below that. So in this time frame, that brings our attention to these areas just here. We've got these areas just here. So in this body, this is in the range of this one, and so you could go like that, or you could go to the high of this candle, which is the one that left. But you might want to box off all of these, or if you feel confident, box off just this one here. Okay, so I'm just going to go like that, kind of combination of the two, and that's the one we want to look at. The sell zone is here, so we'll put that one on there. So this is 0.83. The stop loss is at 1.0188. Boom. daily supply, we're selling at 1.0065, just so we kind of get the, yeah. So we've got that as 1 to 1. We've got this as 1 to 1. I'll leave that for the time being. Then we'll be 1 to 2. Okay, good. So we'll leave it at that for the timing. 35 minutes, that's a long time. If you have any questions, let me know. Thank you so much for watching.